It's been a very long while since I've last seen a game that has the Utopia gone wrong type angle. Atomic Heart is hoping to do that with its release in a few weeks' time. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the game, giving you a huge preview over the combat, over the open world, what is the game, and just some interesting details as well, along with my own thoughts. So, without further ado, let's talk about Atomic Heart. Atomic Heart is an FPS action game centered around an alternate history where the USSR became a global superpower. After the discovery of polymer in 1938, it influenced the creation of advanced robotics, but with the robotics and AI, there will always be things that go wrong. Due to the invention of this polymer, the Soviet Union has been able to create a utopia where robots do all of the manual labor, which means there's clean streets, slick buildings and surroundings, and has allowed us humans to focus on art and science. The inventor of these robots called them the Collective, and with the Collective 2.0 about to launch, something goes horribly wrong. We are a KGB agent that is sent into the robotics facility to see why things have gone wrong, and ultimately chaos will ensue. We're probably going to find out why, but that's a brief summary of the story and the setting that we are diving into. The game will feature a lot of different secrets and areas to go and visit to explore the story, as well as full cutscenes to explain the story to you. Now let's dive into the open world. It was puzzling me for a while until we had a proper gameplay overview a couple of days ago, and it showed off the level design and play spaces that we will have and what we will be exploring in Atomic Heart. But the main thing to know is that there's 5 different areas to explore. The game is going to be very similar to how Halo Infinite is, or Metro Exodus, where there's certain areas that you go to, you can travel to them by train. They're going to be semi-open world, it's not going to be full, there's different ways to travel to them, but we'll have to see when we get our hands on it. There's a mixture of underground labs areas, wide open areas that will have bosses, and the underground labs will have a main bulk of the gameplay. It seems like a mix of tight corridor sections, but also, the semi-open world vibe as well. Missions are going to be varied according to the previews that we've seen, with boss battles, with the gameplay stuff, and also being able to explore maybe side quests out in the full world. A developer quote said, "The world of Atomic Heart is quite large, but creating a completely open world doesn't always work well. We're aiming for a more narrative consistency here, but not to turn it into a huge map with points of interest where you go from one issue to the next, completely forgetting about the story." Some interesting notes about the open world: there's going to be trains that allow you to go between different sections, as well as vehicles as well, and also on top of that there's some zip lines which are pretty neat. And then something else that is really interesting is that as you are going around the world, there's going to be these hubs essentially that control robots, and if you get seen by any of them, by sentries and whatnot, then you're going to get attacked by a bunch of them. So that is going to play into the open world gameplay, as well as when you're going into the underground labs and such. And I can't wait to jump in and see what different play spaces there are, because there's a lot to dive into. Now let's talk about combat and abilities. Atomic Heart is a shooter at heart, pardon the pun, but it has an impressive selection of guns to back that up. These range from an AK-47 to heavyweight RPGs, experimental end of the weapon like energy weapons, electrified weapons, saw blade bats, and I'm pretty sure a lot more things on top of that. There's a lot of melee weapons too, and it seems like a Fallout / Call of Duty, shooter type vibe. It's going to have its kind of level of jank that isn't the same as like a smooth. It's got that action RPG type feel, but I'm excited to jump into it regardless. Melee combat is designed to give us a balance, with helping us save ammo, but it isn't an afterthought. For example, if you use melee weapons, you're able to store up energy to use that with some of the more experimental weapons. Guns will have ammo that is scattered across the world. You're going to have to loot a lot of it just to make sure, so you will be a little bit limited with those resources there. But the interesting thing is there's a crafting system with a machine called Nora where you can upgrade things, craft yourself ammo, and also add elemental effects onto the weapons that you're using, whether that's ice, fire, or electricity. And obviously, apart from adding elemental effects, you're also going to be able to put different attachments onto your weapon, whether that's extended mags, sights, silencers, and all of the usual stuff that you usually see on a crafting system for weapons in most games. It's not just melee weapons and also your guns that are going to be doing a lot of damage in the game. You're going to be upgrading abilities using your power glove called Charles, or Charles as they call it in game. Think of plasmids from BioShock, and then you're kind of along the right lines. This will allow you to have different cybernetics powers, freezing, fire, electricity, telekinesis, stasis as well, i.e. freezing stuff, are some of the main ones that we've got to see. And there's also some form of like polymer type power where you can put things on enemies, maybe that allows them to take more damage or slows them down and such. But the glove isn't just there to be a sidekick. It's able to give you narrative details, updates on mission objectives and stuff, and little tidbits of information as you are making your way around the world of Atomic Heart. It seems that there's going to be a lot of powers that you can use with this power glove. Combine that with all the other elements of combat, and another neat feature, being able to hack robots, is going to be an added bonus, and different equipment too. Let's talk about enemies though, because there's going to be a variety of different robots, different bosses that you're going to be going up against, but there's also going to be mutants that get a little bit in different areas of the game, some that create spores, and if they combine together, they're going to be a real problem for you. I love the design of all the different bosses and also enemies that we've got to see so far. It just seems like this super wacky scientific Soviet era type enemies that would be created as a post World War II era type robots. Some other interesting points are that you're going to be able to upgrade all of your abilities and all of your weapons and such, and puzzles are also going to be a key part of gameplay as well. Whenever you go into these different parts of the facility, there's going to be challenging puzzles, some where you can pull things on the wall and it will make things move around the world, and also maybe some platforming sections, that type of thing, and maybe figuring out things. And another awesome thing to take away from this is the music is going to be done by Mick Gordon. If you're unfamiliar with Mick Gordon, he has done the Doom franchise before, and those soundtracks are absolutely amazing. The game visually looks pretty damn good. I've seen a lot of the NVIDIA showcases of this, and it seems like it's going to hold up pretty well with all of the new technology that NVIDIA is doing over there. Hopefully the FPS will hold up and it won't have any technical issues when it comes to launch. Maybe on PC it might, on Xbox it might not, and hopefully it's relatively bug free so there isn't any problems for people and they can have a very good time when the game actually launches. As this is my final preview of the game, I wanted to give you the release date and my final thought. The game is going to be releasing on Tuesday, the 21st of February, and it's going to be releasing on PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, Series X and S, and also on Steam. The other interesting thing to note is that it is going exclusively to the Xbox Game Pass, so if you have a subscription over there, you'll be able to play it day one, and also on the PC Game Pass as well. As for my final thoughts, I've been waiting for this game for a very, very long time. Obviously, it's been delayed, but I am really happy with the overall product and what we've got to see of the game so far. I'm praying that we don't get any bugs or technical details that really hamper the experience and everyone can have a fun time. I'm going to try and cover this and do a review of it, and also a review in 60 seconds, because the abilities, the visual style, the story has me hooked. I love the alternate history type vibe. It can allow them to go in so many different wacky directions. And then also on top of that, I love some of the art style of some of the robots in the game, because there's one that's like a ballerina, and if that's what we're going to have to fight in the game, then I'm going to be very worried, but also in awe at the same time. It feels very much like a spiritual successor to BioShock, or it's taken a lot of inspirations from it, and that is what pulls me in, because I enjoyed BioShock Infinite and the original BioShock. I never really played BioShock 2, but yeah, those like utopian action RPGs that aren't exactly, you would say this is a AAA game, of course, but it just pulls me in. There's something that like grips me with this, and I've been following this game for a long time, and I really want it to do well. So hopefully this video has outlined it in a condensed format for you. And if you've stayed this far into the video, thank you very much. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like on it, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell, and tell me if you're interested in playing Atomic Heart. If you are, I'd love to know, and how excited you are for the game. We're only a few weeks away, but as always, this has been It's Jimbo, and I'll see you guys next time.